By 2026, Florida's real estate market has finally transitioned from the frenzied, unsustainable growth of the decade. The atmosphere is now defined by a period of cautious normalization, cooling the once overheated statewide landscape. A persistent lock-in effect remains, where homeowners cling tightly to their low, pandemic-era mortgage interest rates. Consequently, housing inventory remains significantly tighter than expected, despite the overall cooling of the broader market. Statewide pressures have mounted, particularly as skyrocketing insurance premiums and rising property taxes reshape the financial landscape. These costs have fundamentally altered the math for prospective buyers, forcing a shift in their primary focus. The priority has moved away from rapid, speculative appreciation toward the necessity of long-term, sustainable housing affordability. Tampa Bay has emerged as the clear epicenter of this correction, experiencing a notable decline in prices. Inventory levels across the region continue to swell, while the average days on market steadily increase weekly. The local condo segment faces significant headwinds, driven largely by rising HOA fees and mandatory safety assessments. Despite these challenges, the urban core of Tampa remains remarkably resilient against the broader regional price drops. Tampa is not currently in a state of structural decline, but rather undergoing a necessary market adjustment. This shift offers savvy buyers newfound negotiating power in a market that is finally beginning to align. The current pricing structures are slowly aligning with local wage growth and the underlying regional economic reality. Buyers are no longer rushing into impulsive decisions, opting instead for careful analysis of every property listing. Sellers are adjusting their expectations, realizing that the era of easy, rapid sales has effectively come to pass. The once frantic bidding wars have vanished, replaced by a more measured and deliberate pace of negotiation. Real estate agents now spend more time educating clients on the complexities of insurance and tax burdens. These professionals navigate a landscape where transparency and due diligence have become the standard for every transaction. The market is finding its footing, shedding the excesses that defined the volatile years of the early decade. Investors are reevaluating their portfolios, looking for value in a market that rewards patience over quick flipping. The dream of homeownership is becoming more attainable for locals, provided they can manage the high carrying costs. Insurance remains the single largest hurdle, casting a long shadow over the feasibility of many residential purchases. Yet, the fundamental demand for living in the Sunshine State persists, anchored by a strong local economy. Tampa's urban core continues to attract professionals who value the proximity to work and vibrant city life. These residents prioritize quality of life, viewing their homes as long-term assets rather than short-term investment vehicles. The correction is painful for some, but it provides a healthier foundation for the future of Florida. As the market stabilizes, the focus shifts towards sustainable development and better infrastructure to support the growth. Local governments are also taking note, working to address the housing supply issues that plague the region. The transition is far from complete, but the signs of a functioning, rational market are finally appearing. Buyers are taking their time, inspecting properties with a critical eye, and demanding fair market valuations today. The days of waiving inspections and contingencies are largely over, marking a return to traditional purchasing practices. This return to normalcy is a welcome relief for many who were priced out during the boom. The normalization process is slow, reflecting the deep-seated changes in the national economy and interest rate environment. Despite the headwinds, the Tampa Bay region maintains its appeal as a primary destination for new residents. The economic reality is harsh, yet it forces a discipline that was previously absent from the market. Every transaction now requires a deep understanding of the hidden costs associated with Florida property ownership today. Those who navigate these waters successfully will find themselves in a strong position for the coming years. The market is evolving, shedding its skin to reveal a more stable and predictable environment for everyone. As the dust settles, the true value of properties is becoming clearer to both buyers and sellers alike. The era of unchecked growth has ended, giving way to a period of maturity and careful planning. Florida's real estate market is proving its resilience, adapting to the pressures of a changing global economy. The focus on affordability is not just a trend, but a necessary response to the current conditions. Homeowners are becoming more protective of their equity, while buyers are becoming more selective with their capital. This balance is essential for the long-term health of the state's housing market and its overall economy. The normalization is a testament to the market's ability to self-correct after a period of extreme volatility. Looking ahead, the path forward is one of cautious optimism, grounded in the reality of current costs. The Tampa Bay area remains a focal point, demonstrating the challenges and opportunities of this new era. Every neighborhood tells a story of adjustment as residents and investors adapt to the new financial climate. The resilience of the urban core provides a beacon of stability in an otherwise shifting regional landscape. As we move further into 2026, the patterns of the past are being replaced by new strategies. The market is finally beginning to reflect the true demand and supply dynamics of the local area. This is a period of transition, where the lessons of the past inform the decisions of today. The normalization is not just about prices, but about the way people perceive the value of homes. It is a return to basics, where location, quality, and affordability dictate the success of any transaction. The Sunshine State continues to draw people, but the process of settling down has become far more rigorous. This rigor is good for the market, ensuring that growth is sustainable and beneficial for the community. The correction in Tampa Bay serves as a model for how other regions might navigate their challenges. It is a necessary step toward a more balanced, fair, and transparent real estate environment for all. Florida is finally finding its equilibrium, paving the way for a more stable and prosperous future ahead. As Tampa navigates its complex correction, Orlando presents a more stable narrative for the state. Having largely bottomed out in 2025, the city shows early signs of a modest recovery. By mid-2026, the market has found a rhythm, benefiting from disciplined and controlled inventory levels. A robust, tourism-anchored economy continues to provide a solid foundation for the local housing sector. Consequently, Orlando has successfully avoided the dramatic price volatility seen in the Gulf Coast markets. Growth corridors like Lake Nona continue to thrive, attracting consistent interest from both new residents. The city's steady population influx provides a reliable floor for both rental demand and housing. Owner-occupied housing remains a primary driver, bolstered by the region's consistent and predictable economic performance. As both major metros grapple with the persistent, underlying challenges of climate risk and insurance, the rising costs of insurance premiums remain a significant hurdle for homeowners across the state. Yet, the divergence between these two metros highlights a broader, more nuanced statewide trend. Investors and homebuyers now face a clear, strategic choice in this evolving real estate landscape. They must weigh the potential for a rebound in a discounted and correcting Tampa market. Alternatively, they may choose the predictable, steady growth found within the vibrant Orlando corridor. Ultimately, 2026 marks the definitive end of the chaotic era of waived purchase contingencies. This shift signals a return to a functioning, fundamental-driven housing market across the Sunshine State. Buyers are now empowered to conduct thorough inspections and negotiate terms with greater confidence today. Sellers are adjusting their expectations to meet the reality of a more balanced, sustainable environment. The frenzy of the early decade has faded into a period of thoughtful, calculated decision-making. Economic reality has finally begun to align with the aspirations of those seeking Florida homes. Local wage growth is slowly catching up to the property values established in recent years. This alignment fosters a sense of long-term stability that was missing during the rapid boom. As the state moves forward, the focus shifts toward resilience and sustainable development for everyone. Florida real estate is maturing, shedding its speculative skin for a more grounded, transparent future. Prospective buyers now prioritize long-term affordability over the fleeting allure of rapid, unsustainable price appreciation. The market is no longer a gamble, but a landscape defined by value and utility. Each transaction now reflects a deeper understanding of the risks and rewards of coastal living. The Sunshine State continues to attract newcomers, but with a more discerning and cautious eye. Infrastructure and community planning take center stage as the population continues its steady, upward climb. The era of normalization has arrived, bringing with it a sense of calm and order. In Tampa, the correction serves as a necessary filter for the region's rapid expansion. South Tampa remains a bastion of value, holding firm against the broader regional price shifts. Meanwhile, the outlying suburbs must contend with a surplus of new construction inventory today. Sellers in these areas are finding that patience is now a requirement for closing deals. Conversely, Orlando thrives on the diversity of its employment sectors and its tourism backbone. The medical city cluster in Lake Nona acts as a powerful magnet for high-income professionals. Winter Park maintains its historic charm, offering a premium experience that defies market cooling trends. These distinct neighborhoods provide a buffer against the volatility seen in other parts of Florida. The rental market in Orlando remains particularly tight, driven by a constant need for housing. This demand floor protects property owners from the worst of the statewide market adjustments. Both cities now face the reality of higher interest rates as a permanent market feature. Buyers have largely accepted that the era of sub-3% mortgage rates is long gone. This acceptance has changed the way families approach their monthly housing budget and planning. Affordability is no longer just about the sticker price, but the total cost of ownership. Insurance premiums and property taxes are now central to every single financial conversation in real estate. Lenders are more rigorous, ensuring that buyers can comfortably manage these recurring annual expenses. This caution is a healthy development for the long-term health of the Florida housing market. Speculative investors have largely retreated, leaving behind a market dominated by end-user primary residents. This shift towards owner occupancy creates more stable neighborhoods and stronger community ties over time. The state's population growth remains the engine that keeps Florida real estate moving forward steadily. Newcomers from across the country continue to arrive, drawn by the promise of warmer weather. They are now finding a market that is more welcoming to their specific housing needs. The inventory of available homes has finally reached a level that allows for actual choice. No longer are buyers forced to settle for the first house they see on tour. They can compare, contrast, and negotiate based on the actual condition of the property itself. This return to normalcy is a welcome relief for families looking to plant deep roots. Real estate agents are also adapting, providing more value through market expertise and local insights. The role of the advisor has become more critical in this complex, evolving economic landscape. They guide clients through the nuances of flood zones, insurance requirements, and long-term appreciation potential. Transparency is the new standard, replacing the opaque bidding wars of the recent past years. The Sunshine State is proving its resilience once again, adapting to a new economic reality. It is a market that rewards those who take the time to understand its fundamentals. Both Tampa and Orlando are emerging from this transition as stronger, more sustainable urban centers. They offer different paths to the same goal of finding a home in Florida. Tampa provides the excitement of a market in recovery, with significant potential for future growth. Orlando offers the comfort of a steady, reliable market that continues to perform very well. Both are essential pieces of the puzzle that makes Florida a unique real estate destination. The lessons learned during the pandemic boom have been integrated into the current market strategy. Risk management is now a priority for every stakeholder involved in the housing industry today. Climate resilience is being built into the very design of new developments across the state. Developers are focusing on higher elevations and more robust construction materials to mitigate future risks. This proactive approach ensures that Florida remains a desirable place to live for decades ahead. The state government continues to support infrastructure projects that facilitate long-term, sustainable regional growth patterns. Transportation and utility improvements are keeping pace with the steady influx of new state residents. This comprehensive planning is vital for maintaining the quality of life that defines Florida living. As we look toward the end of 2026, the outlook for the market remains cautiously optimistic. The transition from frenzy to fundamentals is nearly complete, leaving a more balanced playing field. Buyers and sellers are finding common ground in a market that values transparency and fairness. The volatility of the past is being replaced by the steady hum of a functioning economy. Florida real estate is entering a new chapter, one defined by growth, resilience, and maturity. It is a market that is finally catching its breath after a period of exhaustion. The future of the state's housing sector looks brighter and more sustainable than ever before today. With fundamentals now aligned, the path forward is clear for homeowners and investors alike now. The Florida dream remains alive, now built on a foundation that is truly meant to last.